All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a really practical guide to leadership. Because let's face it, the world is moving faster than ever, it's more complex, and a lot of the old ways of leading just don't work anymore. We need something more than just a good strategy.
So let me ask you, does your leadership playbook feel a little broken? Maybe a bit outdated? You know that feeling when you have a sharp vision, you've got solid plans, but you're just not getting the results or the transformation you're looking for? Well, you are definitely not alone.
Because here's the thing, strategy is still important, of course it is, but it's incomplete. It's just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. If you only focus on the plans and the processes, you're missing the most important part of any organization, the people.
And that right there is the big idea we're digging into today. Real effective leadership, it's about wholeness. It means leading the entire person, their mind, their heart, and their hands. It's about looking past the job title and really connecting with the human being right in front of you. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do we actually do that? Well, the answer is built on something called the wholeness imperative, and it all rests on three really foundational pillars. And here they are, our three pillars. First is cognition, that's your mindset. Then culture, your heart set. And finally, coaching, your skill set. Just think of these as our roadmap for this whole explainer. They're all connected, and they build on each other to create leaders who really have influence with integrity. We're going to start with cognition, because honestly, everything starts here. It all flows from how we think. Our mindset drives our behavior, and our behavior shapes absolutely everything else. You know, leadership isn't really about controlling other people. It starts with leading the one person you can actually control, yourself. And this really gets to the heart of it, based on Dr. Carol Dweck's incredible research. On one side, you've got a fixed mindset. It says, this is who I am, that's it. People with this mindset tend to avoid challenges because they don't want to look bad. But on the other side, you've got the growth mindset, which sees a challenge and thinks, this is an opportunity. It's all about believing we can develop, we can improve, we can figure this out.
And this is the secret sauce. The core of a growth mindset comes down to one tiny little word, yet. Adding that one word transforms "I can't do this," a statement of defeat, into a statement of possibility. It totally reframes failure. It's not the end, it's just part of the process.
Let me tell you how this plays out in real life with this great story about the author's grandson, Lon. He starts running cross-country, improves really fast, and then bam, he hits a wall. He runs 3 different races at almost the exact same time, just a hair over 25 minutes. He got totally stuck in that fixed mindset, telling himself, I can't break 25 minutes. But once he shifted his thinking to, I haven't broken it yet, and started visualizing success, guess what happened? At the county meet, he didn't just break his goal, he absolutely smashed it, running a 22:59. That, my friends, is the power of yet in action. Okay, so if cognition is our internal world, culture's how we shape the world for our teams. And let's be super clear here, culture is not about ping pong tables or free snacks. Fundamentally, almost entirely, it is built on one thing, trust. And you've got to really think about this. A lack of trust is unbelievably expensive. It costs you speed, it costs you innovation, it kills morale. When people don't feel trust, they play defense. They protect themselves instead of pushing forward. They'll do just enough to get by, but they're not going to do what it takes to make a real difference. So how do you actually build that trust? Well, it boils down to credibility. And credibility has 3 main parts. First is character, basically who you are. Are you honest? Do you have integrity? Second, competency, what you do. Do you have the skills? Can you get the job done? And third, clarity, how you communicate. Are you clear about where you're going and what you expect? When all 3 of those are lined up, trust just follows. And you know, sometimes the biggest lessons about trust don't come from a boardroom. They come from the most unexpected places imaginable. This image here, it sets the stage for a really powerful story from the author's childhood inside the Draper Correctional Facility in Alabama. So as a little boy, the author used to visit his dad, who was a correctional officer at work. And there was an inmate trustee they called Duck. And Duck, he took his own baseball glove, found other scraps of leather around the prison, and he stitched together a brand new glove for this little boy. Just think about that for a second. A man who had almost nothing, giving something so valuable with no agenda. It was this powerful, unspoken lesson that trust isn't about your title or your position, it's about your character lived out in these small, sacrificial acts. All right, Our third and final pillar is where we put it all into practice: coaching. If cognition is how we think and culture is how we relate, then coaching is how we act. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's the skill set that makes leadership real, where we're actively building people up instead of just managing their to-do list. This is the engine for growth. And this slide really nails a critical difference. A manager, they focus on control. They give directions, assign tasks, oversee things. It's mostly about keeping things running. But a coach focuses on growth. They ask questions to get you thinking. They develop people. They don't just see a position to be filled. They see an individual whose potential is just waiting to be fueled. Simon Sinek said it perfectly. Nobody wakes up hoping to be managed, but they will be led. People don't want to be treated like cogs in a machine. They want to be developed, to be inspired, to be trusted. And coaching, that's the hands-on expression of leadership that people are actually hungry for. It's how you turn that potential into real performance. So the big question is, how do we pull all of this together? The mindset, the trust, the active coaching, how does it all work in the real world? Well, that brings us to the final practical tool from this guide, the 5E Leadership Framework. And this crest right here, this is it. This represents that framework in action. It's the synthesis of everything we've been talking about, designed to help you lead the whole person every single day. So here's how it works. First, you engage with your full presence. That's your coaching skill set. Put your phone away and actually listen. Second, you lead with empathy to understand their perspective. That's your culture-building heart set. Third, you equip them with the right tools and clarity. That shows your competency and builds trust. Fourth, you empower them to take real ownership. This is your growth mindset in action, trusting them to learn and succeed. And finally, you constantly encourage them, recognizing their progress to fuel more growth. You see, it's a continuous cycle. And that, right there, is the ultimate goal. When you bring together cognition, culture, and coaching, when you use this 5E framework, you stop just managing for performance. You start creating an environment where human potential is truly and finally unlocked. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question, because this isn't just about what you learned today. It's about what you're going to do. Who in your life, on your team, in your family, will you make a real conscious effort to lead with wholeness this week?